Greetings, you two. Do you oppose Antifa? This is a question that has a binary answer. Antifa means anti-fascist. So if you are anti-fascist, good on you. And if you aren't anti-fascist, remember that binary bit I mentioned a moment ago? That means that you are a fascist, because there is no reason to oppose a group of anti-fascists unless you are yourself a fascist. Now, there was a Proud Boy protest recently, and the anti-fascists, the Antifa, showed up as a counter-protest. Now, eventually, the Proud Boys pulled up stakes and took off. Apparently, they couldn't handle the pressure of actually having people show up and say, "Hey, you're a bunch of fucking fascists." They didn't like that. Funny about people not liking being called fascists. It's almost like they understand on some level that it's a bad thing, and yet they don't understand deeply enough to understand that they need to stop doing it. But, here and there. But some people are like, well, why did Antifa remain and protest the police? Because the police are part of the problem. The white nationalists have been intentionally penetrating both the police and the military for decades. Not to mention our national overall narrative has been white supremacist for centuries. So even before the police there were police, we had a white nationalist narrative. And when that institution came into existence, it continued to further those ends. But the white nationalists over the last 20 years have made a concerted effort to get some of their more hardcore members into the police and the military so they could both infiltrate and have impacts on the society at large and gain the military training they need so they could become more effective terrorists in America, because that's their goal. White nationalism, white supremacy, is a terrorist concept. They are terrorists by their very existence, because their declaration is to destroy all people who are not Caucasian, specifically of the straight, white, Christian variety. If you don't fall into those categories, all three of those categories rather, specifically, then you're going to be murdered. So white nationalism, white supremacy, is in and of itself an act of terrorism. And some of these people have infiltrated the police and the military. We have evidence of cops displaying white nationalist things in their homes, of cops that had white nationalist tattoos on their body. Not to mention, the entire institution of law enforcement in America is racist. There is no way to be a good cop in America. Because even if you enter the police force with the idea of helping your fellow man, you are joining an organization which is white supremacist. And you are being co-opted by it and becoming a foot soldier in a war against minorities. Now, a lot of Americans are going to say, well, I never had to deal with that because those people saying those words are Caucasian. So, of course, they see a different police force than if they had been brown or black. The police force they encounter on a daily basis is wearing that wonderful white hood. It shows them, that treats the white people all the respect in the world. Heck, it lets the white people use them as customer service. So Antifa was well within their right to protest the police because the police are part of the problem. Now, the Proud Boys is a hate group, and they should be publicly castigated and labeled as such. And I hope that some of them have lost their jobs now that they've publicly declared themselves to be a member of a hate group and join a protest against the anti-fascists. Which, again, makes you a fascist. It's a binary thing. You are one or the other. And don't give me any of that bullshit about saying you're in the middle, you're a centrist. There is no centrist. You are one or the other. You either support fascism or you support anti-fascism. You don't get to walk the line on this one. There is no fence to walk upon. There is no middle ground here. You are either the bad guys or the good guys. That's it. So don't give me the bullshit that you think, well, both sides are worse. No. The fascists are the bad guys. The anti-fascists are the good guys. Now, you can say some of the good guys have used criminal actions in their efforts, and I got no problem with you saying that. And if they have, then you arrest them, you charge them. If they're found guilty, you throw them in jail. It's plain and simple. But all the rest of them, yeah, they're the good guys. The law-abiding good guys, using their First Amendment rights to speak out against the bad guys, the fascists. So remember, it's binary. Completely binary. You are either a fascist or you are an anti-fascist. So tell me, what are you? Which side of this coin do you fall on? I can tell you, I'm anti-fascist. I firmly believe that fascism should get its ass kicked and be driven off the continent. Preferably off the planet entirely. We don't need fascism. Not in America, not in Europe, not anywhere. They're vile and disgusting, and they need to be eliminated. The entire ideology needs to be stomped out. So, again, I'm asking you, what are you? Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy?